Girl, be you. That's all that you can do. Girl, be you. That's all that you can do. Don't be nobody else. Don't be nobody else.
Hey y'all, welcome to the Girl Be You podcast. It is Gigi, your host. And here at this podcast, we are creating a space for you to be your most authentic self in a world full of chaos. Y'all, I am so happy to be back on the mic, sharing and talking with y'all. Let's get right into this week's episode. So this week we are spotlighting a Black-owned business, and this Black-owned business comes all the way from Philadelphia. And we're spotlighting my girl, Chanel. Chanel and I have been friends for quite some time, but when she came to the city of Chicago, I realized why we've been friends virtually online for so long. We had a great time of catching up, chatting, and doing all of the girly things in the city. And so I wanted to spotlight Chanel because she has constantly been an inspiration to me. She started this business in the middle of the pandemic, and she named her son, who is 3 years old, the CEO of this company. And it is so amazing to watch her take this business from the ground up and promote it and grow and make a space for herself and for her son. Chanel is inspiring. She's beautiful. She's a mom. She's a sister. She's a friend. And she shows us all how to continue to go after your dreams, to continue to create something that is so amazing. So if you are in the Philadelphia area and you are looking for a business to host your child's birthday parties, any special events with soft play, reach out to my girl Chanel over at Chance to Mama on Instagram and make sure that you go follow and support her. Chanel, I love you so much, girl, and I am so glad to call you a sister and a friend. And you know what I'm going to tell you, girl, be you. We see you and we love you. All right, let's get into our segment called Girl, Let Me Say This. So I always talk about how I grew up in a very strict Pentecostal background. And part of that, the reason that I always make mention of that is because a lot of the foundational things, both good and bad, that I learned kind of stick with me. There are some things that I keep with me, and then there are some things that I have to let go of. And it doesn't mean that I'm letting go of God. It just means I'm letting go of a lot of the things that people made it to be. And one thing I make sure that I part ways with is the idea of gloom and doom. Okay. And let me just explain very quickly what I mean. Now we live in a time where everybody is talking about a conspiracy, right? Everybody's talking about what type of conspiracy they believe, what type of conspiracy is actually going on. And I bow out of those conversations because that ain't for me. Okay. I have struggled with anxiety and a whole lot of other things. And so I've struggled with anxiety and just depression and different things like that. So I just try not to even allow those type of conversations and thoughts to swirl in my mind because I don't want that attached to me. Okay. So when I talk about like the gloom and doom and conspiracy theory, I have tried very hard to remove it from my space, right? And so I can't get with the people that's always gloom and doom. Baby, they be so gloom and doom about everything. I mean, the world gonna end. We know. I know that we don't live in a perfect world. I know that there is some type of conspiracy somewhere. But what I don't want to do is fan the flame of the gloom and doom or the conspiracy. Okay. And I feel like we are dealing with enough. Why must I listen to you talk about your gloom and doom, your conspiracy theories, and everything else you got going on? Baby, leave me out of it. Okay. And I know that it's always going to be something wrong with our food, something wrong with this, something wrong with that. But hell, let me have something. Let me have a little sandwich in peace. Okay. Let me go outside and believe that the environment or global warming is not going to end or die or kill us all today. Okay. Let me have something. Y'all with the gloom and doom, you're stressing me out. You're stressing me out. Okay. And the more and more I see more and more people just gravitating to these conspiracy theories. And I don't want to hear it. Okay. I heard it all growing up. Um, I remember being little and I remember how people used to, I remember back in the day, and it kind of stands out to me because me and my dad and my sister were dropping my mom off. I think we were either dropping her off or picking her up from work from the train. And I remember there being this whole conversation within the church community that uh, the world was about to end, and it was going to end on this particular day at 6 o'clock in the evening. And I was so worried because I knew we had to go get my mama from the train. And all the time, the whole time of going to get my mother, all I thought about was, oh my God, we're all going to die. We're all going to die because they said the world is going to end and I'm not going to be able to see my mama and I'm not going to be able to have my daddy. My parents are going to be gone. What's going to happen? Da, da, da. And I think this was when I was like at least maybe 9 or 10. Do you know what kind of how stressed out I was at 9 and 10 about the world ending? And here's the thing, over time, I know that we are just living in a crazy world. I am not negating any of that. And I'm not saying that the world is perfect. But what I am saying is, please don't stress us out. Please shut the up, okay? And I mean it. If that is the conspiracy theory the hill that you want to die on, baby, die there yourself and leave me out of it. Your gloom and doom, your all that stuff. Is there anybody out there that is just like, I just want to live in peace? Girl, if you want to live in peace, come over here with us. Well, with me. I don't know who else over here, but I know I'm over here. And I just want to live a peaceful life. I am not acting like I don't know what's going on, but I also don't want to live in panic for the rest of my life. Okay? That's all I'm saying. Time out with the gloom and doom. Go read a book. Go find a pool to relax in, or go on a vacation or something. Okay, because the minute you start talking about gloom and doom, baby, I'm out. Okay, and that's all on my segment of Girl, Let Me Say This. Let's move into the topic for this week. All right, y'all. So I know that we all live on social media, and I know that social media is not going anywhere. I know that it is going to be here and it is going to snowball into a whole lot of other things, right? It is going to, just show us so many other things. It already has, right? We could go so many places with that, right? We can talk about, AI. We could talk about what life looks like in the movie industry. We can talk about what it looks like for our banking and our home lives. At our house, we have our home pods, and all of our lights are controlled by, our home pod. And it's great. It's convenient. So I am not saying that the internet or social media or any of those things are going anywhere. What I do believe is that we all need just a little bit of balance, okay? Because we've really gotten out of control. And as of late, in this last month, well, I would say like last couple of months, I have just been having a very personal come to Jesus meeting with myself internally, and my intentions and what I want for my life. And also being truthful and honest with ourselves. Okay. Because the reality is, a lot of us and a lot of people, we be lying. Baby, we be lying. Okay. And we lie for a lot of different reasons, right? We lie because, and it's not a bad thing. Okay. And I'm not saying it like a judgment. I think that we lie from the standpoint of, we want to ensure that everybody believes that we're okay. I was having a conversation with my mother the other day, and she's like, "How are you?" And I was like, "I'm fine." But then I followed it up with, "I'm really not fine, but would it matter if I told you that my world was crumbling and I felt like it was crumbling? Would that even matter?" And so we both kind of chuckled, because the reality is that sometimes we are faced with situations where we must lie to ourselves, or sometimes lie to others, so we don't feel like a burden, right? But then there's this fine line of like being truthful with ourselves, but also presenting in a certain way, to the world and to those around us. It's difficult being authentic, and I know that the Girl Be You podcast, and my aim is always to be authentically myself and inspire you all to be authentically yourselves. But sometimes that's tough sometimes, because there is such an internal battle. And the reality is that while we are doing that, we can also be lying to ourselves and to others, just so that we can navigate spaces internally and with other people. And I wanted to I wanted to have this check-in with myself and a check-in with you, to remember the reason that we have to be authentic, and the reason that I understand why we can sometimes tell ourselves a lie, but also just reinforce why we should. Because sometimes we are only showing perfection. And when we look on Instagram, when we look on social media, when we look outside of our homes, when we walk outside of our homes, we have to realize that there are people, fighting battles that we know nothing about. But also, there are a lot of people who are simply showing their highlight reel. They're filtering every single photo. I remember I was going through wedding photos, and I was trying to find this particular photo that I wanted to post, but I couldn't, because the person who took the photo took it on like Snapchat and had me and everybody else in the photo looking like filtered cats with lipstick. Baby, I was like, what in the world? I know people right now that will not take a real picture unless it has a filter on it. And I mean, if that's how you live, then get down. But me, I can't take the filters. And the reality is, a lot of us are really using filters over our lives. And we have to remember that not everybody is perfect. They're not perfect. And you're not either. And it's okay to not be perfect. I think a lot of times too, the reason that people lie is because there's a fear of missing out, a fear of feeling like, if I don't post, then people won't know who I am. They won't know my story. They won't know what I'm trying to do. And I'm going to be straight up honest with y'all. I have not been posting on Instagram or the platforms like I normally have, because I just haven't had, not even the creativity. I just haven't had the will to even post, or I haven't felt like I've wanted to post in about anything. And so I've just been trying to be present. I don't want my life to be curated as content every single moment. I get it. But sometimes I don't want to miss out on just living. I don't want to miss out on that. And I think sometimes we live from a sense of we're missing out on something, so we have to post. Like, we want people to know that we're out here living instead of just living. The earlier part of the summer, my husband and I went to the PJ Morton concert. And y'all know, if you don't know, I love PJ Morton. I just love his music and the way it makes me feel. It's church, it's soul, it's good singing, it's music that is just perfectly uh, created for the song that he's singing, and it just gives such good vibes. Any song, it just gives great vibes. And he had a free concert in downtown Chicago, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. And I literally told myself, do not pull your phone out. I pulled it out a couple times, but when I looked around, everybody had their phone out. And it's no knock to nobody else. But I think that we've just become a society where we feel like we have to capture every single moment, because if we don't, they don't know that we live it. And it's like, who is they? Like my daddy used to tell me, who is they? And so I realized that we do a lot of that, and we have this fear of missing out. And I want to challenge myself, and I want to challenge you that in certain moments, be intentional about just being present. Also, people be lying so they can escape reality, because sometimes your reality can be so bad or seem so bad that you just want to escape. So I get it. And then there's this sense of comparison and social pressure. And I would be lying to y'all if I said that I didn't feel a certain way when I scroll on Instagram. I would be lying to say that I feel like at my age that I should be further along, or I should have done certain things. And when I do feel that, I immediately have to tell myself, girl, get off of here. Get off of here and stop comparing your story to somebody else's story, because your growth is not anyone else's growth. Who I was when I was 27, y'all, is a completely different person than who I am right now at 40. And all of the lessons, all of the things that I've learned, and every place that I've been, I have to learn to celebrate that, because sometimes we don't. We are always chasing the carrot. We're always chasing, like, I should have been, I could have been, but you're not. And this is where you are. Honor that place. Honor where you are. I even think about this podcast. Like, sometimes I feel like, man, I should have had this, and I could have had this, and I could have had that. But then I stop and remind myself, girl, you've been doing this for what, 2 years? However long. I have 35, 40 podcasts. And that is so much more than me thinking about it. You know, years ago, I was just thinking about it. And now, no matter what, I try very hard to show up. I try to show up and talk to myself, because that's essentially what I'm doing. But I know that if I do this and 5 people hear it, 2 people hear it, I don't care. I have to get back into that mindset and remember why I do it. It's not about other people. And your journey is not about other people. It is about you doing what you said you would do. It's about you, following that dream that you have. And then, of course, the biggest thing is people lie sometimes because we don't want to be authentic to who we are, right? I don't want to tell people that I struggle with low self-esteem. Even at my big old age, I struggle sometimes. But then I have to reel myself back in, because being authentic is part of the reason why people lie. People don't want to be authentic. People don't want to share their low moments. People don't want to say, like, yeah, I was really struggling yesterday. Yeah, that was yesterday, but today is a different day. We don't want to do that, because that is so difficult. That is such a level of vulnerability that a lot of people aren't comfortable with. I'm not always comfortable with them. People have fallen victim to not being real on social media because they don't know how to be authentic. And when you are not authentic, it leads to anxiety, insecurity, and your lack of connections with others, right? So the whole goal, the whole point of today's episode is to really just check in with yourself. Choose to be your most authentic self. Work to be being your most authentic self, because it doesn't come without work. Have those check-ins with yourself and say, girl, are you lying right now? Because I think you lying. Because sometimes you can really tell yourself a lie so that you don't believe your reality, right? You want to escape your reality. You have a fear of missing out, so you don't want to be honest with yourself and with other people. You want people to believe that you on a plane every other week. Man, listen. I have to be honest with myself that I really do. And I really, really, really would like to be on a plane every other week. But that's just not my situation right now. It will be soon. But right now, I got to settle myself. I got to set myself up to be able to do that. So that means I got to stay in the house for a little bit. That means I got to work on some things for a little bit. I can't be lying to people like, "Oh yeah, I'm here. I'm here." Baby, I'm in the house, okay? I'm in the house cooking my own dinner. Cooking dinner for me and my husband cuz inflation is high, baby, okay? And you can say what you want. It's high. All right. And you have to reassess, choose to be your authentic self, even if it doesn't feel like it, even if you don't want to. Be yourself, even if that means that you're not going viral. Huh? Be yourself, even if that means that you are not going to go viral. Because a lot of us be wanting to go viral. And for what? For you to be mad, for people, the entire world to start talking about you. Make sure that your goals and your ambitions are aligned with your character and your integrity. Because you can say all day, I want everybody to know. I want everybody to know. Okay, you want everybody to know you and know your message. But what happens when there are people who don't care about your message, girl? What about that? You see how it's two sides to every single coin. And the goal is not to go viral. The goal is to show up as yourself, be yourself. And the goal is to stop lying so much to yourself and to other people. Be yourself. And remember that the people that you're watching and you're seeing and you're looking at, sometimes they be lying too, girl. So the whole goal is to what? Girl, be you. Y'all, that is my episode for this week. Thank you so much for joining me. Make sure that you're following me on Instagram, G_girl_BU, so that you can follow my story, follow everything that I'm sharing. And if you haven't already, sign up for the weekly newsletter. And you can do that by visiting the website at www.girlbu.com. And if you haven't already, make sure that you join the Patreon for all of the pre-show episodes, all of the information that I share throughout the week that I'm not sharing on the newsletter and not sharing on the podcast. Come on over there and be a part of the community of the week. Y'all, make sure you follow this week's Black Business of the Week. Make sure you're following Chanel on Instagram, Chance to Mama. And if you're in the Philadelphia area, go and support her business at Chance to Soft Play, and you can book her on Instagram. Y'all, thank you so much for joining me this week. Until next time, bye, y'all.
Girl, be you. That's all that you can do.